God, I remember this terrible time I was in this competition and I had to play the first movement of a Mozart concerto. And I played 453, the G major concerto. And I was so horrifically nervous that I botched the very first, the piano comes in with a little 16th note passage leading up to the theme. And my fingers were tangled up in knots. I just could not play it.
When we play something at the piano that's not right, it can be for any number of reasons. It can be for a physical reason, like our hands aren't strong enough to play that, or not big enough, or not coordinated enough to actually play those particular notes the way we want. It could be that, in which case we need to practice that particular thing. It could be a mental thing. It could be that we're not quite sure what the notes are that we actually want to play. We know how it sounds, so we know when we're not playing them, but we're not actually sure, is it an A or is it a G in this particular spot? Maybe in the exposition it was an A, and now in the recap it's a G, but we haven't clarified that for ourselves consciously. So when we play that passage, we kind of go for an A sometimes, kind of go for a G sometimes, so every other time we make a mistake. Yeah? That's not a physical mistake because we can play it. It's just we don't know what we want to play. Yeah? In that particular case, our practicing then is away from the piano, and we take the score and we figure out, why am I thinking it's an A this time when it's actually a G? Oh yeah, I see, it's transposed and it's it's linked to this previous theme or whatever. There's a mental process there that takes us to A rather than to G. So we work on this away from the piano with the score. It might be an emotional problem. It might be that in performing this particular piece, we've, for whatever reason, made that mistake many, many times in performance. So we come up to that spot in the next performance and we're like, oh my God, this is it, this is the spot. And I can't remember if it's A or here it comes. That's an emotional problem. Yeah? In normal situation, you know it because you've worked it out in the score. You know it's a G this time and not an A. Physically, you know you can play it because you can play A or G. You can play both of them. Emotionally is where the problem lies. Yeah? Because you have a certain emotional reflex. When you start this passage 10 measures before, for some reason, it's linked to an emotional crisis at this particular point because of your experience. Yeah? So we need to change that emotional reflex so that when you get to that point, you don't think about, but you think something else. You feel something else. Practicing is as much a physical activity at the piano as it is a mental activity with the score, as it is an emotional activity away from all music. Yeah? So if I say to myself, I have to get 6 hours of practicing in, I can really, realistically say, I'll sit at the piano for a couple hours and I'll do mental imagery or oral imagery or look at the score or something for a couple hours. And then I'll think about my relationship with my teacher and my parents and think about how this last performance went for a couple hours. And you get 6 hours of practicing it. And all those times that you're working in whatever way all contribute to your understanding of the piece, your understanding of yourself, your understanding of the instrument, and deepens your understanding then of your next performance.